Hey, can he and I share one of these? That zero?
Go ahead.
Test, test, test. Yeah. Test, 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 test.
What is that?
Says join audio. You want me to click on join audio?
It looks like it's, but yes, click join audio.
Well, it does say computer audio connected.
Okay, that's good. Hold on. You're working.
Test, 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 test.
I was busy.
Hey, Judd, can you hear me?
Hello, Wayne, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, good. I'm
Welcome.
on mute. Thank you. I'm on mute.
Wayne, why don't you have a recent picture?
You know, hold on, I'll teach you. You'll have, okay, so you want this? You want this instead?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I figured. Bunch of smart Alex.
John, this is Donna Whitney. Can y'all hear me?
Got you, Donna.
Yeah, I've got you, Donna. How about
I
you,
didn't
Joe?
know if my audio was working,
We don't see nobody's faces, do you?
but you can't see my face.
It causes problems, doesn't it?
It does, it covers a lot.
You hear that? Why is that doing that?
Are you talking, Judd? Because we can't hear you if you are.
Thank you. I did have it muted. Can you hear me now, Wayne?
Turn your sound down. Your sound down.
I like to control the volume on the speaker. And I have to control it on that.
Just, we're gonna have a goat rope here if we don't get something figured out here.
Only one person's computer can have, be loud at one time. Does that make sense?
The volume.
Because then you can't turn that back on unless you.
So Wayne, if you
want
can
that.
hear me, we're going to start in 4 minutes.
So to talk.
Well, where's our
I turn this on.
engineer rep?
No.
He's in the
to talk, you
parking
only have
lot.
to unmute
Oh,
your
yeah.
mic.
Okay.
You're just not gonna be able to
Because he
hear.
said he was coming in here. So
Thanks, exactly.
for indicating that they
So
do.
that's how you did this. Well, it's because most of the time whenever you're using Zoom, you're not in the same room. The Zoom is teleconferencing.
Good point.
So you can't, I mean, that's just how mics and
Yep.
sound systems work. You can't.
And what do you call it when they touch up portraits? What do you call that?
I don't know.
Glamour shot.
Glamour shot.
Glamour shots.
Wayne, do you hear yourself being talked about?
He's probably closing some big.
Are you talking, Judd?
Not yet, just about. I'm waiting for Mr. Browning to get on the phone and then we'll start. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Hey, can I ask city manager a question before we begin?
Here.
He's not here at this moment.
Yes, he
Could I
is.
stop, could I stop you if I wanted to?
No, So my question is, what time's lunch coming by? Because these meetings always have lunch provided in the past, and I'm here in my office due to Corona.
Yeah, there's a few people that have their mics muted.
Well,
Okay.
this wasn't a meeting that I organized, nor,
I thought the city was picking it up today.
nor can I accept responsibility for how it's being handled, especially since I can't even see anybody on my screen. So, you know, I guess that I'll have to leave you on your own, but every time I see you, you're sitting in your overstuffed leather chair with the river in the background, talking about how tough it is to work from your location. And we aren't delivering. Nico's doesn't deliver out there where you live on West River Road.
Okay, well, I'm gonna keep quiet now.
Thank you, Mr. McClain. That was wonderful.
I can see you now, Wayne.
Hold on. I'll let you, hold on. How about this one? I'm in my office. There you go. How's that shot? Or do you want the glamour shot?
You're in your office? Wow.
At work. Look at John Browning. John, you don't need to wear a mask when you're at home. That's right. Man. Good Lord have mercy.
John's muted right now, which is a rare event, so.
Okay, are we ready?
Y'all can go ahead and go.
Let's get it.
John, you don't need to wear a mask when you're at home. Good Lord have mercy.
Yes.
Okay,
I wish
it's
I
wonderful to
was.
see you.
I'm not muted anymore. Wayne's muted. That's good. Hello, Wayne.
Okay, gentlemen, if it's okay, we'll go ahead and get started and call the meeting to order. It's wonderful to see each one of you, and welcome to each of you, and welcome to our guests. I'll do roll call, and if you're present and can hear me, would you please respond by saying present? I'll start with Wayne McClain. Are you with us, sir?
Present, and I'm glad to welcome our new city manager, who I'm very excited about him being in that position.
Thank you, and amen to that. Ken Johnson, are you with us, sir?
All present, sir.
Mr. Rawls, are you with us, sir? John Browning, are you with us, sir? He is here. We see you, Mr. Browning. Welcome. Jeff Hatfield, I think, is with us today. Is that correct?
Very excited about him being in that position.
And Dana Jones, are you with us? And do we have the honor of Melissa Miller? John Browning, are you with us, sir?
I'm with you. There's a lot of background on somebody's.
Yeah, we're getting feedback. Somebody's got a delay on there, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. I think we're clear here in this room. If each of you can maybe mute when you're not
I think it may be
talking,
the
it will be
noise in your
wonderful,
room.
and it'll help us all out. Also, we have with us today, I'll try to not miss anybody, but Miss Donna Whitney with the FDOT is with us. And
Good
welcome,
morning.
Donna.
Thank you.
We're also very happy to have with us Andrew Halesko. And of course, Mr. City Manager, Mr. Longtime Counsel, Don Holmes, thank you for being with us, brother.
I think
Is there anybody else
talking
present that we need to recognize at this time? All right, well, we'll go ahead and move forward. We've done the roll call. I need a motion, please, to approve the minutes from the previous meeting on February 5th, 2020.
So moved. Oh, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye, and just say present by using your name, please.
Ken Johnson.
Wayne McClain.
All right, Judd Neufeld. Any others? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. I wanted to just say a few comments. Of course, this is extremely difficult and different times for all of us, but it does make us all, I think, thankful for our wonderful country. It is so strong and protected by such a wonderful Constitution, and so proud to be an American when you see our country rallying together how we have. Truly a special word of thanks to our Palatka City Commissioners. This is on behalf of the entire AAB board for the privilege of serving our city in this capacity. Special word of thanks to our mayor. And we thank you, commissioners and Mr. Mayor, for your protection and your perspective and the progress that you have helped accomplish at the airport. We're very honored to represent the airport, and we all have a strong love and affection for that place and for the people that run it. Mr. Holmes, again, thank you for all the counsel that you've given to us so long and so important. I'd like to say a special word of thanks on behalf of the AAB board to Mr. Ewell. John, you've given and given and given. I ride by the airport a lot after hours these days, and I see John's car there more than I don't see it there. And it's very, very nice, John, the way you serve our community above and beyond the paycheck. And it's
Trying to
great.
escape the house.
He's trying to get out of the house.
Miserable house.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ewell. And Barbara, thank you, or Donna, excuse me, thank you again for all that you've done for our airport. And of course, a big round of applause and thanks to Andrew. Andrew, thank you for the recent developments at our airport. It's beautiful to see it all falling together so wonderfully, and we sure are grateful for what we've been able to do together. Those comments being made, I don't have any public comments that have been sent to me, so we will move ahead with the airport update, and we'll turn the meeting over to John. John, I'm going to mute my speaker, and John's going to talk to us for a minute.
Can everybody hear me? Gonna turn some volume down, Judd. Thank you.
You got feedback there.
I trust everybody, everybody can hear me. Wave with your hands on your video if you cannot hear me. Anyway, thank you, Judd. Thank you for those kind words here. Thought that could be a sign of an unhappy household, but I assure you that's not the case here. Hey, the airport, that you know, the city went on lockdown a while back. So we went to DEFCON 3. Robert White, our chief of maintenance, had a family member that tested positive about 2 weeks ago. So we sent him home and sent all of our employees home and went to DEFCON 4 in that situation. I'm glad to say Robert's test results have come back negative. So we're back in the building's just locked up we do have somebody out of the airport all the time. We are able to help customers. However, it's always on the outside, and we can't let them in the building. And the airport is attended during normal business days. It has affected our 100 low lead sales. We're about 10,000 gallons less than we were last year at this time. So we've think things started slowing down in February on 100 low lead. Surprisingly, Jet A sales are exactly the same as last year. Although I suspect if this carries on, that will change. We had a very strong first quarter with jet sales, and we'll look. The runway project 1735 taxiway Charlie project is complete. I think I sent everybody a construction photo. I'll send out another one that shows the painting, but that taxiway project turned out very, very nice. You can clearly see the taxiway you need to depart on from the fuel area. So I suspect we will have a lot more aircraft using runway 17 after refueling, which parlays into a safety issue. If you notice, we had some vegetation grow up real high along the ditches out on the airfield between the departure end of runway 17 and runway 9. Pleased to say we are getting that removed. We're more than 3/4 finished with removing that. We're going to get that down to the ground so that you have an eye level view of an aircraft taking off on runway 9 if you're taking off on runway 17. History has shown you just can't rely on good radio communication from pilots in situations like that. So we've got that. We're getting that vegetation down to the ground. It is a safety issue, and that was one of the items that came up in the meeting last time. I believe Ken Johnson brought up safety. So that's one thing we've done out there to help safety, Ken. So please come out and take a look at the runway 1735 project. It really turned out very, very nice. With one exception, we do have an electrical problem that we are checking into. The company that put the system in is checking with manufacturers. We think we have a regulator problem, but we'll get that fixed, no doubt. We now have external LED lighting mounted on a couple of the hangars on the west end, and plans for completing the installation of both external and internal LED lighting for all of the west hangars. Chris Nardone from Passrow Associates came out yesterday, and we toured around with Trinity Electrical, the company that's doing that LED lighting, and we looked at not only the west hangars, but we're also getting a price for the east hangars that needs to happen. Not sure exactly when we'll get to the east hangars, but the west hangars should be done in short order. And Judd, that is about all I can think of. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, John. Hugh, you have a comment?
On the electrical, what's the latest on the beacon?
You got me unmuted? Okay, good.
Yeah, what's the latest on the beacon?
Go ahead and mute yourself, Judd. I'll repeat the question. Let me have it, and I'll repeat the question. Hugh Ross has asked the question, what's the latest on the beacon replacement? Trinity came out just Monday, and they drilled the holes and they poured the foundation for the 65-foot hole. So we're underway with that. And then,
Thank you.
mm-hmm.
That takes care of John's report. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Andrew. Hear me, I guess. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Andrew for 4B and 4C and 4D, I believe.
No, you're fine, John. Did you want to talk about the CARES Act funding, the $30,000? I mean, that's you and your. I think you should. That's a John Yule thing, so it's very good news too.
All right, thank you. Hey, Andrew just reminded me of something. We have been granted $30,000 as a result of the Coronavirus Economic Recovery Act, and it's been decided that money at present is going to be going to pay down some of the airport debt. Good. We're very fortunate. You just can't believe the amount of money that the government has given to airports throughout the country. I forget how many billions California and Texas and Florida got, but it's huge. And I compared what we got, the $30,000 we got with airports of similar size, and we're absolutely on par with other people. We got just as much as some airports that are even slightly larger. So we're very pleased with that. Thank you for reminding me of that, Andrew.
Yeah, I just wanted you to talk about that, John. So the FAA gave $10 billion of additional money to airports through what they call the CARES Act. And it ended up being $30,000 of direct revenue to Palatka, and the city could have used that for whatever they wanted. It's not for airport improvement. It's literally to help the bottom line in whatever way the city wanted to. And as John said, the city's going to put it towards debt. So it's just $30,000 of financial assistance. The other thing that the FAA did in the same program is they took the 90% share of all projects in the year 2020 and increased it from 90 to 100%. So every project that is being done at airports and funded by the FAA in the current federal fiscal year is 100% funded.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it is. And the city only has a small project this year from the FAA, but that will be the design of Taxiway A Phase 2, which is the west section of Taxiway A primarily, but that design will be 100% funded. I still think there's a chance in 2021 that the FAA will also fund those projects at 100%. No one has said a word about that anywhere yet, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if the FA says 2021, we're also going to fund another 100% for another year. So those are good things. Yeah, that's the construction phase of Taxiway A on the west end. So that's more like $1 million project. So that would be great. But we'll see what happens on that. We won't know that for at least 6 to 9 more months. Couple things just to go through. I sent you all a copy of Matt Singletary's monthly project status memo. There's already been some questions on project 1 on the memo. The electrical vault and rotating beacon are progressing. The foundation for the beacon was poured 2 days ago. The beacon is still a couple of months out though. It's quite a specialty item. They are backlogged. They don't keep any on stock. So they just manufacture the new beacons as they're ordered. So that's actually still not coming for a few months, and the old beacon will just continue in its place until the new beacon gets here. John mentioned runway 17N and taxiway C improvements. Even though it's just a 300-foot runway extension, it helps out a lot of the operational efficiency on the north end of 1735. The direct connection, no back taxiing, being able to pull out of the fuel farm. Frankly, you mentioned it, John. If you're a small airplane and you're flying to the south, you're just going to pull out of the fuel farm, jump on 1735, and you're gone to the south. Your taxi time is probably reduced by 90%. So it's good to see that underway, and we're doing our final punch list and getting things done now. John mentioned an electrical problem. We're trying to determine if the regulator is bad or there's a lightning strike. Either way, we'll get the components fixed, and it'll be a part of the grant. So we'll get that done. Project 3 is land acquisition. I sent you all, I guess what I would call a pink or a red graphic. There we go. Thank you, Wayne. Wayne's got it. So the grant that the FDOT provided for the land acquisition for the 2 parcels on Route 100, it still has $23,000 left. It's 100% funded. And we looked at the next most important parcels where the city might want to purchase. And it's that small little piece on Moody Road that has been, believe it or not, the tall pine trees on that parcel have historically been the closest obstructions to runway 927. Over time, the city may try to purchase more parcels along that string on Moody Road and out to Route 100. But that little piece is on the county appraiser's website. It's valued at $12,750. There's still $23,000 left in the grant. And I just talked with John to say, should the city try and contact that landowner who has already expressed interest in selling land. So last year he approached the airport and talked about his interest in selling. And if that can happen, I think it is wise to use some of the money that's remaining and try and get that little piece. So that's I guess it's underway. John is mentioning that it's underway right now. And again, I think it's a good thing and a good use of that money. Hangar design is underway. The city signed that contract with Pastro. So I'm finally able to answer the question, when will the hangar design be underway? It is underway. So yes, you hear me, right? I see you over there. He's smiling. So he's smiling.
That's my pet project.
It is. And then project 5 is the taxiway A phase 2, the west section of taxiway Alpha. That's the large part. There's a few other small sections of taxiway A that will also be in the design and bid, but that will not hit construction until late 2021. We're going to do the design between now and spring of 2021. The FA will fund the construction sometime around summer of 2021. We won't start it until September or October of 2021, but we will fix that. When that's done, there's only one piece of old pavement left on the airport, and that is the fuel farm apron and the surrounding taxiway and taxi lanes. All the other pavement will be in really good shape in what we call green. And green is good from the FDOT pavement management program. So everything else is looking good. We also sent you a copy of the capital improvement program. One of the things that we're still trying to do better with the city is help the capital improvement programming through the finance department. So following up on the meeting with FDOT and FAA back in February, we put together this CIP so we can really look at all the improvements that the FAA and the FDOT plan to fund for the next 5 years. It's all on that sheet so the finance department is never surprised, and it will help the finance department and the city in their annual budgeting. And one of the things that they have asked us to do that we haven't done yet, but it's Matt Singletary's doing it right now. We are actually going to take that CIP and we are going to look at every quarter of the year from now till the end of 2026. And we're going to try and do a disbursement schedule to find out when the projects will really be active and when cash will be needed from the FAA, DOT, and the city. We have not done that for a 6-year plan ever before, but if it's going to help the city, we're going to do it. So Matt, our PM, is working on that right now. One more thing I want to mention, it's a little bit perhaps off of the agenda, but since I see Melissa's face here on screen, I want to give a plug for St. John's River State College. Melissa, I haven't had a chance to talk with you, but my daughter Morgan graduated from St. John's River State College last year with a degree in nursing. And I don't think, I didn't know about the unbelievable exceptional nursing program at the college. I really didn't know about it. But she graduated a year ago and Melissa and I were speaking about it, and she has been on the front line in the ICU in Middleburg, dealing with nothing but COVID patients for 2 months. And it's just like, Melissa and I were talking about it as she was going through the program, and I just give tremendous accolades to St. John's River and the nursing program, putting people out that can go and walk into an ICU and take care of COVID patients. And she's only been graduated for a year. And I'm proud of her, and I just wanted to say that college puts out fantastic students. Her and her entire group. There's 3 of them in there. Her and 2 of the students that graduated with her. They're all working at Ascension, St. Vincent's, and Middleburg, and they're 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and again, almost all COVID patients in the ICU. So. Good work. Just want to throw that out. Just want to throw that out there. A little plug for the local college. Good work.
Yeah. And
Hey, if I could chime in here, I've got a plug for Andrew here. I hope I'm not embarrassing you, but everybody remembers about 4 or 5 years ago when Andrew received a very nice promotion from his company to executive vice president of operations and underwater basket weaving. But a few months ago, to my surprise, I just found out a couple of weeks ago that Andrew has been promoted yet again to CEO of his company. So Andrew, hats off to you, man.
That's beautiful.
Congratulations.
CEO of
awesome.
Passero Associates.
Hey, Don Holmes, that means additional discounts for the city.
so I just wanted to echo what Andrew was saying. We are so proud of our nurses that we have put out in the field, and Andrew's daughter is a perfect example of those heroes that are out there on the front lines. And Andrew, please thank her for all of us for the work that she's doing. We know how important she is and all of her colleagues, and we could not be more proud of the work that they're doing and the wonderful people that they are. So thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. That's beautiful. Good word. Good word. Congratulations, Andrew, too, on your promotion to CEO. Hugh's got a comment, please.
One question for Andrew, scheduling, the new entrance, what is the tentative time that'll be opened up?
Well, actually, that's one of the things to chat about. It's in your CIP. There will be additional FDOT money coming after July of this year and until next year. So we won't see a new formal improvement with an access road connecting until at least late 21, 22, because the funding is not there for that. But John and I have been talking about a few things like mowing it, making it usable for parking, and trying to get a connection point back between Skydive Palatka onto the airport access road. We're hoping that can happen quicker. Like there might be a little bit of money left over in this land acquisition grant, which is for that same parcel. So we might be able to do some clearing and connection. So there is connectivity quicker between the main access road and that parcel. So then we might be able to get some utility out of it quicker.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Wayne, were you trying to make a comment earlier? I think we saw you talking and didn't hear you.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Andrew, and of course, that will mean, as I was saying to City Manager Holmes, that'll mean additional major discounts to the city because he's CEO now. So thank you so much for that, Andrew. Hey, in all seriousness, Judd, I want to make sure it's not on here as a topic, but that we talk about the fly-in a little bit, please.
Yes. So at our last meeting, and we approved those minutes, we made a motion to approach the city leaders, the city commissioners, for permission to go out and to solicit a management company to take over the fly-in. And Mr. McClain, I tried to make an appointment once, but we were just at the beginning of this COVID issue. And since then, we have not had a chance to get together, but John Yule's ready to speak to it. So I'll mute me and John will take over.
All right. Hey, thank you, Wayne. I did get that in for an agenda item with the city commission, and hopefully it will come up tomorrow night, requesting approval for the board to start vetting production companies.
Okay, so I need to comment on that. So the two gentlemen that, I had outlined, that I think one of them actually attended the fly-in. He's no longer around. I mean, passed away, but no longer in business. So we can forget that. And he was in business like 15 plus years. So I guess my point, John, is when we speak to this and look into the city manager Holmes here, I hope the commission will understand if we're not able in any way, shape or form to put on the fly-in in January. It sounds so far down the road, but with everything going on, that it may just not be possible this year. And I don't want people to, I just want to make sure that that's one of the options that we have. If that makes any sense, what I'm saying.
Just a point, also of clarification, the commission meeting isn't tomorrow night, it's a week from tomorrow night, John Yule, if you can hear. So if you've got that, if you're looking to get that on the agenda for next Thursday night, you still can do that until Friday of this week. But I don't think there's been an unwillingness of the commission to talk about it. I think it's just been that there have been so many other things to talk about in the last 6 weeks that that just hasn't been a topic yet, but we can get it on the agenda for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Don. It is in the system.
But Mr. Chairman, I just am interested in what other people think, but I just want to make sure that the commission knows from the advisory board that the fly-in won't be able to happen with this group and may not be able to happen if we can't find a suitable event person to recommend for the city commission to vet.
All of the group gatherings are so, at this point, tenuous that your comment about uncertainty about whether we even have an event in January, unfortunately, is a very valid comment, Wayne. I know that they're trying to tentatively put off the Blue Crab Festival until Labor Day. That's the tentative thought right now. But it's just a guess. Everyone's guessing right now. The only question we've had is, for instance, with our fireworks contractor, if we can't build in an escape clause to avoid paying for the services, then it's difficult for the city to enter into a contract for an event that we can't be sure is going to occur. So if we were to be able to look at hiring an event coordinator, I guess the critical times would be the time when that event coordinator would have to start actually investing time and money into the event, whether it be planning, advertisement, or whatever it might be, because I'm sure that the event coordinator is not going to be willing to forfeit whatever those services might be performed prior to the time that the city calls the event off, if that has to happen. So that'd be my only caveat in that regard is I'm sure the city would have, I don't think there's any lack of appreciation on the part of the city commission of the fact that this thing has just grown so much that it's despite all of the great efforts by the airport advisory board and the volunteers that y'all have been able to enlist, unless I'm mistaken in understanding what John has conveyed to me, and I think you conveyed to me and Judd conveyed to me, it's just outgrown you. And we all know there's some issues out there that scare you to death. I mean, me, in terms of separating the crowd from the props and one thing or another, that I think is a liability claim waiting to happen, which we could buffer ourselves from to some extent with a professional, with a professional's guidance. So I don't think you're going to find an unwillingness or or that the commission won't be receptive to the idea of an event coordinator. I just think it's going to be a question of, just be blunt, and maybe this isn't a topic you wanted me to reference, but you're used to me saying things that you don't want to hear anyway, Wayne. So it may be a question just of whether or not we have to enter into a contract that we have to invest money in that we can't get back in terms of the event coordinator. And then number two, quite frankly, is going to be a question of what the board's position is on assessing some charge for attendance. And I'm not trying to speak for the commission now. I've just heard it mentioned that even a small nominal charge would go a long way towards providing a budget to fund some of those things. So I'm not stating their position or trying to predict. I'm just saying that money's going to be tight next year.
Wayne, did you have any more comments on that?
No, I think Don summed it up nicely. It's his thoughts and my thoughts are about the same.
They want to see you. Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you very, very much. Does anybody else have a comment before we close?
I want to add if I can, Judd.
Andrew would like to speak.
One of the other things that we've been working on is 2 years back, we had been looking at economic development initiatives, revenue producing things for the airport. Remember the big top 10 chart we created that one day, the little SWOT analysis in one meeting. We have taken some technical drawings for the airport. We're specifically making some drawings right now that are completely focused on making money. And I'd like there to be a discussion next month. Just look at those drawings. There's two things we want to do. We want to basically create almost a brochure that can go on the website and become a marketing brochure for the airport. And secondly, if you say it's okay, I think you will, I would hope, we're actually going to create a 3-dimensional visualization video using our drone that's going to fly around the airport, and it's going to be marketing and business development related and literally showing the buildings coming out of the ground so that it could go on your website. It could be used in any type of marketing piece. And we have a lot of the base drawings. We've been doing them for years, pieces here and there that we've shown people, but it's time to just go to the next level. And hopefully we can get something going on the new 5 acres just purchased, something on Route 100. We've been talking about an aviation academy, a flight school, the rest of the hangars, an MRO, bringing in the UAVs and drones, the hangar parcel off of K. Larkin Drive on the other side of the airfield, all those things. So it's just a way to give the city another tool and the chamber another tool to sell those vacant parcels and get something going on. So I want to talk about that more next month.
Thoughts. That's very good. And Ken just said the word vision. So I don't know whether y'all heard it. All right, any other comments? All right, if there's no other comments, then I think we can have a motion to adjourn. All right, we have a motion by Hugh. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. And
Aye.
all right, motion carried, and we'll announce the next meeting soon. Thank you all very much. Please be safe, and sure appreciate everybody's commitment and interest, of course, in our city. Thanks so
And I'll
much.
go, yeah, real quick, Brett, I'm gonna go catch me a bite of lunch, so, since I didn't have anything here.
Been eating the whole time.
Had to get that one in there, didn't you?
All right. Everybody be safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.